Hey, what's up, everybody? How are y'all doing? And welcome to Truthful Talk Thursday. As always, I'm excited to be with y'all and to be able to kind of have this conversation for us to really just take some time to really just dive in and just talk. Um, and so there's a combination of things that I have been thinking about. There's some things that I have really been just sitting on and contemplating. And one of the things that I wanted to kind of just have a conversation about really is really being able just to talk about is this thought is what if what happens, I guess that would be the case, is what happens when the place that you're in is the place of pain. And this is what I mean. I think about like Moses, right? For example, Moses was raised in the house of an Egyptian, right? And the scripture says that um, some things transpired, and because of those things that happened, he ended up running away. Well, in the midst of him running off, in the midst of him going and doing what he's doing, eventually he goes through, I would say, a season of where um, he's away, but he's growing in some areas and he's developing in some areas, right? And probably going through different challenges. The scriptures really doesn't allow us to know about his life. He's experiencing new things because now he's a husband. Now he's a father. He's had new responsibilities. He has all of these things. And then he has this encounter. He has this encounter. Hey, how you doing? Welcome on. Let me know by saying hi, and let me know where you are, where you're watching this conversation. But as the scripture says that Moses goes through this point where he has this encounter in this moment with God, and God then calls him back to a new assignment, but the new assignment requires him to go into a place that he was running away from. It requires him to go to a place where, honestly, where he has certain memories, he has certain probably pain points. He has certain things that are struggles that he has, and it's probably even an embarrassment for him to be able to go back, right? And so I'm looking and thinking about this context and about this concept. And while I'm thinking about that, I'm thinking about this aspect of my journey. And I guess I want to start and I want to ask you this question. Have you ever felt like you had an instructions to go back to something, to be able to do certain things or something that God might have required or asked of you to do or whatever that is. And while you are going back into that space, there are moments, there are things, there are certain memories that you have. It might not be the particular place, but it might be that city, it might be that region, it might be that area, it might be whatever those things are. It might just be something that reminds you of some moments that you had, some pain moments that you have. If that's you, I mean, while you're watching this, how y'all doing? Again, thank y'all for coming on. Welcome to Truthful Thursdays, Truthful Talk Thursdays, and I love having these moments. But I really want to be able to understand, like, what do you do when you get into those moments? What do you do? How do you feel? How do you deal with those things when you are going through this moment, when you are struggling in this moment, when you are, you might be having to deal with certain things in this moment? Like, again, like Moses, Moses being able to having to go back to the place that he was at before, the going back to the place where he had a pain point, going back to a place, even though he had an assignment, even though he was called to be able to do something, he was going back to a place that had memory. No matter how long he had been gone. Matter of fact, the scriptures let us know he had been gone for some years, right? But no matter how long he had been gone, that place still had certain memories. It had experiences. It had things that he had grew up in, had things that he probably never talked about. It had all of these experiences and things that was in that specific place that God was now calling him to go back to. And so I thought about that, and I thought about my journey. I thought about where I'm at. I thought about what's going on in my personal life. And I've shared this or said this statement before, and I'll basically say this again, is, where I'm at currently is different. Thought process, mindset, all of those things is a little bit different. But what I can say and will say is that originally this was not what I expected. This was not my anticipation. When for those that don't know, I'll say it like you don't know. I was raised in the city of, I would say, Copper's Cove, Texas. And for those that don't know where that's at, that's a small little town, not too far from like your Austin and your Dallas, Houston areas. It's, a couple hours away from those spaces, and raised in that area. I was raised in a certain space, raised in a certain environment. Hello, wake up, welcome. How y'all doing? Thank y'all for joining. I was raised in this environment, and after some time, I experienced different things. I was able to grow in different things and all of these pieces. And then I had an assignment to be able to leave for a season, right? So I left, went to the beautiful state of Colorado Springs, and was able to go out there. Hello, welcome me in. As you come in, surely those on TikTok, not only I want y'all to say hi to me, but make sure y'all show me some love, be able to give me some hearts, let me know you in the building. Those that are on Facebook watching me, or you might be watching me on YouTube, or whichever place you're watching, I need you to just say hi, put a comment in there to be able to just say hi, say what's up to me, let me know that you're watching. And but again, I transitioned, I moved to Colorado, and there's a season and a time that I'm there. And while I'm there, I'm experiencing new things. I'm growing. I'm going through all of these different experiences and pieces, but it's developing me. I'm experiencing things new. I'm having all these moments. Again, just like you have this experience that Moses is having. Moses grows up in this space, and then he leaves because of his scenario was a little bit different than mine, but he leaves and goes off for a season, develops new things, experiences new things, but then he gets an assignment where he needs to come back. Well, my situation was per se a little bit different in the aspect of I was faced with certain challenges. I was faced with some things that I hadn't dealt with, some scenarios that I had not dealt with, some struggles that I had not dealt with. And so some of the things that I had started to really have to deal with is something that my therapist helped me to understand. And what it was is it was a moment of where I don't want to say an encounter, I don't want to say an episode, I don't even know how really to explain it. It was an overwhelming feeling that happened. And then this overwhelming feeling, it was a feeling or a moment where all of my pain came to hit me all at one time. All of it. It wasn't like, hey man, just some of this over here and some of this over here. No, all of my pain, it felt like, wanted to come and slap me in the face all at one moment and all at one time. And in this space, what I end up having to deal with is the unresolved pain points, the unresolved pieces of my life that I did not deal with. Specifically, I had to deal with the things or the people that have, I'll use this word, that passed away in my life that I never grieved over. The seasons of my life that I never grieved over. Hey, thank y'all for coming on and watching this and being a part of this conversation. But I had to deal with it. It literally was almost like it happened out of nowhere, where in this specific moment and season of my life, all of these things and places that I never grieved over, never got over, or never really dealt with, hit me all at one point. And I don't know, it might just be me, but I didn't understand it at that point. But I know I'm not the only person that has went through a moment of their lives where they feel like the emotional weight hit them all at once. Now, I know specifically for a person like myself, having that weight and feeling that feeling is already hard, because as a person, as a man, as someone that I feel like I try to help other people and I'm always trying to be there for other people, it's difficult for me to feel the safety to be able to go to someone and communicate to somebody. It's difficult for me to be able to say, hey, look, this is where my struggle is, or this is what's going on with me emotionally. It's very difficult for me to be able to have that type of dialogue and that type of conversation. So I'm carrying the weight of all of this pain. I'm carrying the weight of all of this experience that I'm having. I'm carrying in, and it becomes so overwhelming. It becomes so much. It becomes so overwhelming that literally I get into a heavy state of depression. Now, I know I smiled at that statement, and that I would rather smile in this moment. This is Truthful Thursday, Truthful Talk Thursday, and so I'm being as truthful and honest as possible. But I don't want to cry while I'm on this conversation, either of those. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in this moment of where I'm feeling the weight of the pain. I'm feeling the weight of the grief. I'm feeling the weight of those that I love that I have lost. I'm feeling the weight of all of that in one moment, in one time, in one situation. And while this is going on, while this weight is happening, while this situation is happening, while this struggle is happening, I'm still having to be me. I'm still having to be a dad. I'm still having to be a friend. I'm still having to be a son. I'm still having to be a mentor. I'm still having to be all of these titles that we carry, right? Even no matter what I'm dealing with, I'm still having to communicate. I'm still having to give everything that I got to people, even the things that I don't really got. Hey, can y'all do me a favor while y'all on here, specifically for TikTok? Hey, show me some love, give me some hearts, make a comment as you jump on. Thank y'all for coming on. I'm so grateful that y'all are on and listening. But so I'm going through all of these moments. But the question then that I ask while we're having a truthful dialogue here, right? We're talking, we're being honest with each other. The question that I ask is, how do we go through the struggles? How do we deal with the moments when the season in our life, that moment in our life feels overwhelming? How do we carry it? How do we handle it? Do we allow ourselves to lock up and not deal with it at all? Do we act like it's not even there? Do we act like, we're not even struggling and we just gonna keep on going and doing what we're doing? Like normally that's what I would have done. Normally that's what probably some of us have done, where no matter the pain, no matter the struggle, no matter how much it hurts, we have learned and trained and taught ourselves how to just keep going. But in this moment, this was the one moment I would feel to say that in my own journey, this was a moment where I felt like I couldn't do that. It was so heavy that I felt like I couldn't move. It felt like I could not be productive. It felt like I couldn't create anything. And for those that really know me, I love creating stuff. I feel like I am a visionary. I see things and I love to work on different concepts and things or whatever, but that's just who I am. But I felt like I was in a season because it was so heavy that I couldn't work on anything. I couldn't create nothing. It literally, the weight of all that I was dealing with in that moment felt like it was stifling me. It was hurting me to a point where it felt like it was a weight that kept me still and I couldn't move forward. And then in the midst of that, remember, I started this whole conversation. I'm talking about I used the template of a man by the name of Moses and just looking at everything that he experienced and all that he went through, right? But here's the concept. In the midst of all that I'm struggling with, in the midst of having to deal head on with my grief and with my pain, literally like somebody took a Band-Aid and just ripped it off, and the blood and the problems and the issues is just flowing. Like in the midst of all of that, God tells me I got to move back to Texas. The place that I didn't want to go back to. The place that in my mind going back to means you failed, means you didn't succeed, means you might have missed it, means that see, we knew you didn't have. Like all of these thoughts and pieces is going through my mind when I hear the major moment of time where this conversation is, hey, you got to go back to Texas. In the midst of my pain, in the midst of hurting, why would I go back to the place that carries my memories? Why would I want to go back to the place that carries the pain points? Why would I want to go to the place where all of these hurts that's unraveling, that's hitting me all at one time, all of this pain that's coming up all at once sits right here in this place? One of the pain points was my uncle. My uncle, his name is Charles Anthony Tedder. And my uncle, it's been some years now that he ended up passing away. When I got the call, I was in Texas. When I got the call, I was in my bedroom. I was sleeping. It was early in the morning. When I got the call, I was here. When I had to deal with the pain of it, I was here. When all the other things started to happen because of I was in pain, because I was trying not to deal with the grief and still had to move on and still had to do different things because of all of this is where the moment was. So that's a pain point. So I'm thinking to myself, why would you send me back to the place where it's so much memory of pain? Why would you send me to the place where there's so much negative memories? Yes, I got some positive. I got some good things that has happened when I lived here. And there were some wonderful moments and some wonderful experiences that I've had since I've grown up here and all of these things. But when I thought about having to come back here to Texas, it was so much memory of pain that I was questioning, why would God send me back here? Like, you could have sent me anywhere. Why would you send me back to Texas? That's not where I wanted to be. I never saw myself coming back here. I never saw myself going back home. You know how many people, I know some of y'all left where y'all was raised and y'all ain't trying to go back. Because again, some memories might be good memories, good things that you experience and all of those wonderful things. But some of us, we have horrible or bad memories from the city that we was raised in, the place that we was raised in, the home that we were raised in. So to be able to say that you need to go back to that place, go back to the place where all of this memory of pain that you might not have dealt with. I know for me, I didn't. Matter of fact, based upon how my therapist said this statement, my therapist said, you learn how to compartmentalize. So you created a compartment in your heart where all of the grief would go, and you would shut your heart, that portion of your heart down, so you don't have to deal with the pain. So you don't have to deal with the grief. So you shut that down so you don't have to do this. But in the process of doing all of that, I never dealt with the pain. So again, now you're bringing me back to the place where these pain points are, where these memories are. Now I have to literally confront my pain. I got to sit in it. And now you add extra, because now not only am I having to deal with the pain, but I got to deal with this other stuff. I got to deal with the rejection. I got to deal with the feeling like I'm a failure. I got to deal with the feeling of feeling like as a man that I'm not good enough. That nobody wants me. That maybe I missed God. How did all of these things transpire? And one day I'm going to go through, we're going to talk about some other stuff that has transpired because of it. Like, how did all of these things happen as a result of me doing what you called me to do? What I believe that you told me to go do? And now these things have happened? And now I'm sitting back in Texas in an apartment all by myself, wrestling and dealing with the grief that I never dealt with, the pain of the place that I'm in, feeling like a failure, feeling like I'm being rejected, feeling like you're not good enough. All of these different feelings hitting all at one time. Moments of where I wanted to just check out, but then thought about, like, if that happens, what is that going to do for my sons? And how is this going to impact this person? Well, specifically my boys. Like, all of these pieces were a part of my puzzle. But I recognize now in this moment that I had to come back to this place. I had to come back to the place where my pain point was so that I can heal from the things that I was in pain with. I had to confront it. Now, it's hard, and it's some things that I'm still dealing with, some things that I'm still confronting, some stuff that I'm still trying to process through and heal through. But these are things that I have to walk out. So what I realized is that as I'm walking in this moment of dealing with the pain, as I'm walking in this moment of having to go back to the place where my pain point was, you might not have to go back to the city. You might not have to go back to the scenario. You might have to just go back to the memory. And the memory all by itself, what's up, Corey? The memory all by itself reminds you of the pain point. The memory all by itself is something that you have to confront or deal with. The memory by itself is already hard. So now healing through the process of the things that you didn't want to deal with, confronting those areas, specifically, again, I'm talking about me, confronting those areas within myself to be able to have to say, no, man, I have to heal from this. And what I realized is that just like Moses had to confront, deal with, walk in, talk through, go through the process of, be honest enough to say, hey, listen, this is where my struggle is, and this is what this is. No, all in the process of him dealing with his, I had to go through the process of dealing with mine because I recognize it's a part of this journey. Yeah, I've been hurt through this process. Yeah, some people have disappointed me in this process. Yes, I felt like I've lost some friends and some people that I thought were close and realized that they really wasn't. They were fake the whole time. Like, yes, I've went through all of this. Yes, I've made some mistakes. Yes, I've done some things and you know, made some bad decisions and all of, like, yes. But I had to deal with it. I had to confront it. And now I'm able to walk in the process of healing because I took the time. In some sense, I felt like I was a little forced, but I took the time to be able to confront it. And then I believe that there's new people that have walked in my life that are assisting me in the process of healing. That is making me confront certain things that even sometimes I still don't want to confront or deal with. Some things I just want to keep going and working so I don't have to deal with the problem or the issue or the struggle or the pain. But they're like, no. You got to deal with it. You got to stand in this one. What is this for? What's going on? Why are you feeling this way? What's happening? Let's walk this out. Because why? We have to deal with the pain points so that we can be able to heal in the journey. And here's the truth. Sometimes it's easier not to deal with the problem. Sometimes it's easier not to deal with the pain. Instagram, sometimes it's easier not to be able to face the truth. Facebook, it's easier sometimes not to be able to sit in the hurt. Sometimes it's easier, TikTok, not to be able to sit in the struggle or be honest with yourself. Sometimes it's more easier to just walk away, to keep working, to act like it don't exist. But the reality is going through that process that way, walking through it that way won't heal you. It won't heal you. You'll still be hurting. You still have places within yourself that still is broken. And then I'm realizing I'm a very, very private person. I mean, very private person, honestly. I don't like people in my business. I don't like being out there like that. I'm just very, 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 very private person. Always been like that and always will be, I believe. But here's the reality. In this journey of healing, what I realized, if you've been a person that like broke a leg, broke your foot, one of the things in the process of trying to heal that leg, yeah, you go to a doctor put a cast on it. But the reality is the way that you heal that leg is there's a season where you can't put all your weight on that leg that broke. So the way that you are able to still walk and function is you have to have assistance. You have to have something you can lean on. The weight of life don't change just because you're trying to heal. Life don't take a pause just because you're saying you want to heal. Life don't shut off just because you're saying, now I want to get over this. Life don't do that. Life is still lifing. So in my portion of my life, I feel like I have had now assistance, things or people that I can lean upon that help me in this process of healing. But the reality is the way that I was able to heal or get on this journey of healing is, man, I had to confront the pain. And I had to realize he sent me back to the place of where my pain point is because he needs me to heal, because I have an assignment. I have something I'm supposed to be doing. And I cannot do that in pain. Because the only thing that people in pain do is they teach people how to function in pain. I ain't trying to teach people how to function in pain. I want you to function in victory. I want you to walk in your destiny. I don't need you walking and functioning and living life and getting in relationships and doing all this stuff in pain. Now you paranoid every 5 seconds and now you're doing, no, that's pain. And that's what happens so many times. People in pain are trying to teach people that how to have good relationships, but they're teaching them from the filter of pain. How to be able to do this, but you're teaching from the filter of you was abandoned or you was broke. You were broken. Like they did you wrong. So now you don't trust people. Now you're teaching people through the filter of your pain, not from the lessons of your pain, from the filter of your pain. And I don't want to do that. I need to be healed. So when I'm communicating and helping people and talking to people, whatever that is, I'm doing it through lessons of pain, not from the filter of pain. Because now I'm healed. Now I'm doing better. Now I'm stronger in certain areas. Now I ain't sitting around here paranoid all day or feeling like I'm not good enough or whatever those things are, right? No, I get to walk in the destiny and the peace that I need to. I know, girl. Because why? I had to confront the pain. In ways that I confronted it, I had to come back home. And now I'm dealing with things and walking in things so I can be able to do the assignment, walk in the things, and have the real conversations that I believe is going to help people in their journey. Thank y'all for coming on for Truthful Thursday. I pray that this conversation helped you in any form of way. These are moments that I'm trying to have with you, but I also want to have some other type of dialogue as well. I want to be able to have questions that you can be able to give me and I can be able to answer them. It can be biblical questions, life questions, whatever those things are. And we're going to be truthful and honest on this dialogue and be raw, because I believe that these conversations are going to help somebody in their journey. All right. I love y'all. Hope y'all have a wonderful night and everybody enjoy your 4th. Don't be crazy. Make sure you be safe. And I'll see y'all next time. All right. Love y'all. And bye-bye.